Norse mythology. Top 10 Gods of Scandinavia. What if I told you that a world with 9 dimensions, a huge tree of life, ice giants, dragons, prophetic wolves, and gods capable of destroying the universe is not fiction, but part of the beliefs that the ancient peoples of the North sincerely believed in? Norse mythology is not just fairy tales. It is a chronicle of heroic battles, betrayals, eternal wisdom, and inevitable death. In this video, we will go to Asgard, the home of the gods, to find out who is the strongest. Odin, the all-knowing Lord of Wisdom. Thor, the god of thunder, throwing a hammer through the sky. Loki, a cunning shapeshifter, capable of destroying even the fate of the gods themselves. But this is just the beginning. We will show you the 10 most powerful gods of Scandinavia, from the stars to the dungeons of Helheim. You will learn what they don't tell you in school. Forgotten legends, rituals, dark secrets, and prophecies that concern not only the past, but also the future. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe, like, and get ready to plunge into a world where every word is magic, and every god is a threat or hope for the world. Asgard is waiting for you. Njord is the first of the Vanir gods, who opens the door to the world of Scandinavian nature magic. He is not just a sea god, he is the embodiment of nature itself in its calm but unpredictable grandeur. Njord is the lord of coastal winds, high water waves, and depths that hide treasures that can change the fate of kingdoms. He is the voice of the ocean that brings ships home or smashes them on rocks. He was revered by Scandinavian sailors, who before setting sail made sacrifices by the water, asking for safety and a generous catch. But Njord's power is much deeper. He was the patron saint not only of fishermen, but also of merchants. It was by his will that ships could find new trade routes, and ports could be filled with gold and silk. The Scandinavians believed that profits from distant lands were not just the fruit of labor, but a gift from Njord, who chooses whom to bless. Njord belongs to the Vanir clan, the ancient gods of fertility, nature, and peace. After the war between the Aesir and the Vanir, he became a symbol of the alliance. When the parties exchanged divine hostages, Njord began to live in Asgard. But despite this, he never settled down among the Aesir. His soul always gravitated towards Fjordum, the damp shores, the scent of salt and wind, and the whisper of seabirds. His children, Freyr and Freya, also became one of the most revered gods, but Njord himself remained a figure who stands silently on the shore of history. There is a legend that he was married to the goddess Skadi, the daughter of a giant. But their union was doomed. She longed for the cold mountains and he for the warm shores. This story is not only about love, but also about the eternal confrontation of the elements, earth and water. From the point of view of wealth magic, Njord is a key god. Not gold from mines or treasuries, but the wealth of nature that nourishes the nation. Fish in the sea, wind in the sails, rain in the fields. His wealth is the ability to give survival and prosperity to an entire people. And that is why even clan rulers and jarls turn to him before campaigns, because as the sea accepts the ship, so fate will decide. In our time, the name of Njord is less well known than Odin or Thor, but it was he who was closest to the common people. In his power is food for the family, winds for travel, and a calm breeze that brings hope. He is an old god, a forgotten lord of the elements, who still whispers from the depths to those who listen to the sea. Bragi is not a warrior or a storm lord, but his power is no weaker than hammers or swords. His weapon is the word, and not a simple word, but a word that creates the world, heals the soul, awakens memory, and leaves a trace of eternity. In Scandinavian mythology, he is considered the god of poetry, eloquence, wisdom, stories, and music. It is he who puts inspiration into the mouths of skalds. It is he who turns human speech into a song that stops time. His name means poetry, and it is he who owns the oldest runes of memory. Among the Aces, Bragi occupies a special place. He is not feared, he is listened to. He embodies the wisdom of generations, the experience of ancestors, and the ability to connect the past with the future through the power of storytelling. It is Bragi who sits in the great hall of Valhalla and greets the fallen warriors with poems that honor their valor, and leads the souls to peace with words that embrace. His origin is magical. According to one version, he is the son of Odin, and from childhood he heard the whispers of Mimir and the songs of the Norns. According to another, he was the first skald among mortals who became a god after death, because his word could not disappear. These myths only emphasize how incomprehensible his nature was, half man, half spirit, the personification of wisdom itself. Bragi is married to the goddess Idun, the keeper of the apples of eternal youth. Their union is not accidental. Word and youth are the basis of immortality. Without Idun, there is no eternal life, but without Bragi, no one will be able to pass this story on. Together they personify the immortality not of the body, but of the spirit, thought, memory. In myths, Bragi often appears as a gray-haired sage with a harp, from whose mouth pours verses that can stop a war or reveal a secret truth. His symbolism is special. He carries the magic of the voice. He is credited with creating the honey of poetry, a magical drink that can give inspiration to mortals. This honey was created from the blood of the wisest beings and stored in 3 magical vessels, and later stolen by Odin himself. However, it was Bragi who spread its power among the skalds, chosen artists who conveyed the truth in words. His cult was widespread among poets, orators, and chroniclers. In temples and homes where the sagas were heard, the name of Bragi was pronounced with respect. The skalds often turned to him before starting their stories so that the word would fall on the tongue correctly, and the thought would touch the heart of the listener. He was not feared, he was begged to be there when the time came to speak on behalf of memory. In our time, Bragi's name is almost forgotten by the general public. But it is thanks to him that myths, chronicles, and songs have been preserved. And every time we read an old legend, listen to an epic ballad, or make a thoughtful toast, he is the one speaking. The god whose speech is mightier than any weapon. Vidar is the most silent of the gods, but in his silence lies a terrible fate. He does not utter fiery speeches, does not throw challenges, and does not seek glory. However, when the last day comes, Ragnarok, it is Vidar who will be the one to settle the score. He is not seen among the warriors of Asgard at the feast. He rarely interferes in the affairs of others, but everyone knows he will come when the time comes. The son of Odin and the giantess Grid, Vidar is the personification of steadfastness, strength, and silent determination. He is not just a god of revenge, he is a god of justice, who comes without anger, but with a final verdict. The myths say that Vidar wears special shoes made of thick leather, which are created from the remains of all the scraps that people throw away when making shoes. He needs these shoes for one thing: to kill Fenrir. And every pair of scraps, every shred is a mortal contribution to the future victory over chaos. He does not fight for glory. His struggle is a deep, silent oath. When his father Odin is devoured by the wolf Fenrir, Vidar will not scream in grief. He will silently do what he must do: take a sword, step on the monster's mouth, and tear it open. According to one version, he will split Fenrir's jaws with his own hands. According to another, he will pierce the beast's heart with a sharp blade. In any case, his revenge will be precise, inevitable, and eternal. Interestingly, Vidar is often described as almost mute. But this silence is not an absence of mind, but a sign of concentration. He listens, watches, waits. His silence is the silence of a deep forest before a storm, the deafening silence before the final blow. He is a symbol of a quiet power that does not demand recognition, but without which there would be no balance in the world. There is something deeply human in the image of Vidar. It combines loss, duty, endurance, and the fulfillment of a promise. He does not seek worship, but it is thanks to him that Asgard will not fall completely. After Ragnarok, he is one of those who will survive. He will revive the world, together with his brother Vali. And perhaps this is precisely his deepest role, not only to take revenge, but also to bring peace to the new world. The Scandinavians believed that Vidar's strength is in everyone who knows how to wait, who does not break under pressure, who does not shout but does. He is the god of inner strength, the one that does not need words. Warriors knew his name, but also artisans, and those who had survived losses. Because Vidar reminded, silent endurance is also heroism. Baldur is a light in the kingdom of shadows, beauty in the midst of war, hope in a world that is going to perish. He was called the most beautiful of all the gods, the favorite of Asgard, pure and kind, like the morning sun. He was the son of Odin and Frigg, not a warrior, not a conqueror, but the personification of the ideal, harmony and peace. There was no evil, envy, or hatred in him. That is why his death became the greatest tragedy of Scandinavian mythology, the harbinger of the end of all the gods. Balder had prophetic dreams in which he saw his death. His mother, Frigg, frightened by these visions, went around the whole world and took an oath from everything that exists so that no thing could harm her son. The oath was given by water and fire, metals and diseases, trees and animals. But one plant remained beyond her attention, the quiet, inconspicuous mistletoe. And so the celebration began in Asgard. The gods threw spears, swords, stones at Balder, and everything bounced off without harming him. But Loki, the personification of cunning and chaos, found the blind god Gode, and giving him an arrow made of mistletoe, aimed it at Balder's chest. The arrow hit the target and the world shook. The gods were speechless. Beauty died. Harmony disappeared. After his death, Frigg begged messengers to go down to Hel, the kingdom of the dead, and persuade the mistress of the dead to let Balder go. She agreed on one condition: if the whole world would cry for him, and the whole world cried, except for one figure who refused, the giantess Tekne, who, according to legend, was Loki himself incarnate. So Balder remained in Hel. But it was he, according to legend, who would return after Ragnarok. When the world is destroyed, when pain and war disappear, Balder will emerge from the shadows, bright, unharmed, and become the new ruler of the new world. This is the symbolism of his image. He is not just a god of light, he is a god of resurrection, the belief that even after the darkest night, dawn will come. His cult was not as militant as the cult of Odin or Thor, but much deeper. He personified the values that the gods sought to preserve: honesty, love, peace. In some versions of the myths, Balder also possessed the power of prophecy. He knew his fate, but did not resist. His death was sacrificial, like a silent consent to pain for the sake of rebirth. Balder is not just a character in myths, he is an archetype of hope. In everyone who retains faith in good, in everyone who does not lose purity in the midst of betrayal and pain, a piece of Balder lives. His death reminds us of the fragility of the ideal, but his return is a reminder of the inevitability of light. And as long as his memory lives on, even in the darkest of times, there is a chance for revival. Tyr is a god whose glory is not in the loudness of lightning, but in the silence of accepted pain. His name echoes little in battles, but is deeply engraved in the hearts of those who know that true courage is not steel in the hands, but honesty in the heart. He is the god of war, but not bloodthirsty, but just. Not an instigator of battles, but a defender of balance. Tyr is the god who taught the gods to pay the price for peace. In the days when the young wolf Fenrir, Loki's offspring, grew up in Asgard, the gods felt fear. They knew that this predator was not just a beast, but a harbinger of the end of the world. His strength was supernatural, his mind was sharp, and his rage was boundless. The gods could not kill him, because that would violate the sacred laws of hospitality. So they decided to chain him. No chains could withstand Fenrir. Eventually, the dwarves of the world of Svartalfheim forged a special leash, Gleipnir, made of strange things. The sound of a cat's footsteps, a woman's beard, the roots of a mountain, the tendons of a bear, the breath of a fish, and the saliva of a bird. Light as silk, yet strong as fate. But Fenrir, sensing the ruse, refused to let himself be bound. He agreed on one condition. One of the gods had to put his hand in his mouth as a token of his honesty. And then Tyr stepped forward. He knew that Fenrir would not trust himself so easily. And he knew how it would end. When the leash was tightened and the wolf realized that it was a trap, he closed his jaws, and Tyr lost his right arm. But the gods sighed with relief. Fenrir was bound. The world was saved, at least for a while. This act made Tyr not just a god of war, but a symbol of honor. The loss of his hand became a sign of sacrifice which true warriors pay. Not with strength, but with courage. Not with anger, but with prudence. In the Scandinavian tradition, Tyr was also identified with justice. He was revered as someone who was not afraid to make difficult choices when it came to the common good. In some ancient sources, Tyr is the oldest of the gods, one of the first rulers to whom even other powerful beings obeyed. In battles, he was called upon not for victory, but for dignity. Warriors who believed in him entered the field not as hunters, but as defenders. His courage was quiet, restrained, rooted in a deep confidence in their own principles. After losing his hand, Tyr did not weaken. He did not become less majestic. On the contrary, it was then that he acquired the strength that rests not on muscles, but on the spirit. And at the moment of Ragnarok, when the freed Fenrir devours the world, Tyr will again come out to meet him. Without a hand, without fear, but with honor. Tyr is a memory that power without honor is empty. That sacrifice is not defeat, but the highest manifestation of loyalty, and that even a god, deprived of weapons, can remain a symbol of indomitable will. Heimdall is a silent sentinel whose presence is not accompanied by loud legends, but without him Asgard itself would have fallen long ago. He stands where the end of the worlds meets their beginning, at the Bifrost Bridge, the rainbow path between the world of men and the kingdom of the gods. His eyes pierce the darkness, his ears hear the growth of a blade of grass, and his soul is like a mirror in which the truth is reflected. According to myths, Heimdall was born of 9 mothers, 9 waves of the sea, which gave him the ability to hear even the breath of stone and see equally clearly day and night. He has no equal in observation, and that is why the gods entrusted him with the most important mission, to guard the passage to Asgard, so that no enemy passes through and no betrayal sneaks into the sacred abodes. His duty does not end with surveillance. On the day of Ragnarok, when the end comes to the earth, it is Heimdall who will be the first to see the armies of giants and the dead march against the gods. And it is he who will blow the horn of Gjallarhorn. This sound will sweep through all 9 worlds, awaken the sleeping, stir the souls of heroes, and warn Aesir about the beginning of the last battle. This horn is not just an instrument, but a key to time. Its sound breaks the seals of fate. Heimdall is not a warrior in the classical sense. He does not carry heavy hammers, does not organize formidable campaigns. But when the moment comes, he will fight. And he will fight with someone whom no one expected. Loki, the god of cunning, former brother, current enemy. In Ragnarok, these two will become symbols of 2 forces, order and chaos, vigilance and deception. They will kill each other, disappearing from this world, but leaving behind balance. Heimdall is sometimes called the White God, not only because of his light, but also because he represents purity of intention, clarity of thought, and true responsibility. He is the calm before the storm, the eye that sees the human heart, and the guardian of the bridge that marks the boundary between harmony and destruction. Some ancient sources have hinted that Heimdall may be more than just a watchman. Perhaps it was he who founded the human race, giving people honesty, nobility, and the ability to distinguish good from evil. The poem Heimdall's Horn mentions that he knows more than he tells, and his memory reaches back to the beginning of time. In our time, the image of Heimdall is a reminder that strength is not always in action. It is in readiness, in observation, in the ability to be on guard when others sleep, and in always remaining true to one's purpose, even if the whole world changes. Freyr is not just a god, he's a song of harvest, warmth, and peace that resonates in every breath of the earth. One of the most revered gods of the Scandinavian pantheon, he carries with him light, harmony, and fertility. The son of the sea god Njord, brother of the goddess Freya, he personifies everything that grows, blooms, and bears fruit. He is not feared, he is loved. After all, where Freyr appears, abundance comes, and with it hope. His light is not blinding, like Thor's lightning, but soft, life-giving, like sunlight after a long winter. He is the ruler of Alfheim, the country of light elves, creatures living in harmony with nature. His kingdom is not a palace in the clouds, but fields, gardens, green hills, where every spikelet is a blessing, and every flower is a gift. Freyr was depicted as handsome, young, with a radiant face. He is accompanied by the boar Gullinbursti, with golden bristles that shine like the sun. But his main magical thing is a sword that fights itself in battle. It was a weapon so perfect that its movement was like a dance of light in the shadow. However, for the sake of love, Freyr gave up this sword, and this is one of the most tragic but deeply human myths. When Freyr saw the beautiful giantess Gerd, he fell in love so much that he agreed to give up his sword to get her hand. He knew that without the sword he would die during Ragnarok. But he chose love over strength. This is not just a myth, it is a symbol of sacrifice for the sake of feeling, choosing the heart over fate. On the day of the end of the world, Freyr will meet the giant Surt, the fiery lord of Muspelheim. Without his magic sword, he will be doomed, but he will not escape. He will stand up for life, even knowing that he will not win. Because his strength is not only in weapons, but in the courage to remain a light in the darkness. Freyr is the patron saint of farmers, lovers, and those who seek peace. Sacrifices were made to him, not with swords, but with gifts of the earth, fruits, honey, wreaths of flowers. His name was shouted at weddings, on the first day of sowing, when they wanted to cause rain or bless the future. It was believed that, touching the earth, Freyr leaves seeds of abundance in it. Scandinavian mythology, with all its cruelty and battles, had a place for such a god as Freyr. A god who brings not victory, but harmony. His image reminds us that even in a world where war and darkness continue, there is always a chance for a harvest, light, and new life. And as long as people remember Freyr, the sun will not disappear from the sky. Loki is the most unpredictable and dangerous of all the inhabitants of Asgard. He cannot be called good or evil. He is beyond the boundaries of concepts that are familiar to people or even gods. Loki is chaos in its purest form, a fire that burns the old, but sometimes gives new. He is the son of the Jotun Farbauti and the giantess Laufey, but for some reason he was accepted into the community of the Aesir. Some said that he was the adopted brother of Odin. Others said that he simply rubbed into trust. But one thing is certain, where Loki appeared, something unexpected soon happened. Loki is the god of cunning, changeable and changeable in itself. His abilities for reincarnation knew no bounds. He became a fish, a bird, an old woman, and even gave birth to the eight-legged horse Sleipnir, disguised as a mare. His speech is a sword, his smile is a trap, and it was thanks to him that the greatest treasures appeared in Asgard. Thor's hammer Mjolnir, Sif's golden hair, the magic ring Draupnir, the ship Skidbladnir. But it was also because of him that the greatest threats came into the world. Loki is the father of monsters. His son Fenrir is a wolf who will destroy Odin. His daughter Hel is the ruler of the kingdom of the dead. His son Jormungandr is a serpent that encircles the world and poisons it during the final battle. Loki does not just create, he is woven from the very contradiction. Creator and destroyer, friend and traitor, laughter and death in one face. The myths about Loki are full of duality. He saved the gods from disasters and then himself threw them into new trouble. He helped Thor return the stolen hammer and then betrayed Balder, the god of light, provoking his death. His pranks began as a joke, but always ended in tragedy. And when the Aesir finally got tired of it, they chained him to stones in the depths of a cave and tied a snake over his face, the poison of which dripped onto his skin. Loki's wife Sigyn held a bowl to protect him, but when she had to empty the vessel, Loki screamed so that the earth shook. This is how earthquakes were explained in Scandinavian legends. However, Loki will not stay there forever. On the day of Ragnarok, he will break free and take the side of the enemies of Asgard. He will lead an army of the dead and monsters, and he himself will kill the god Heimdall, dying at the same time. He is the beginning and the end, a blade that cuts through peace. The image of Loki is not just the personification of betrayal or deception. It is a symbol of changes that come regardless of our will. He reminds us that, even among the gods, not everything is eternal, that every system can be destroyed from within, and that sometimes strength lies not in muscles but in intelligence and cunning. Loki himself is the mirror of all fears and desires. He cannot be understood, only the consequences of his appearance can be felt. And although he is despised in myths, no legend can do without him, because even chaos has its role in the creation of a new world. Thor is a god whose wrath is heard in the roar of thunder, and his strength in the strike of lightning. The son of Odin and the goddess Jord, he is born from the very essence of the earth and sky, combining in himself boundless power and the ardent heart of a defender. His name is known to every giant and every monster, because with it comes inevitable retribution. Thor is the strongest of all the Aces, the main defender of Midgard, the world of people, and Asgard, the abode of the gods. He is the personification of military valor, straightforwardness, and inescapable justice. On his belt is the Megingird, which doubles his strength. On his hands are iron gloves, and in his hand is Mjolnir, the sacred hammer, capable of striking any evil and always returning back. Mjolnir is not just a weapon, it is a symbol of protection, a talisman, and an instrument of justice. His chariot, drawn by two goats, Tangrisnir and Tangnostr, rumbles in the sky as Thor rushes into battle. His presence is always movement, a storm, a force that does not ask permission. Thor fears no one and never hides. He always goes towards danger, even if he knows that victory will cost him everything. He is the main enemy of giants, Jotuns, and the forces of chaos. His battles with monsters are separate epics. Thor is not cunning like Loki, nor wise like Odin, but his strength lies in simplicity, truthfulness, and boundless faith in duty. He is the one who stands between evil and humanity. One of the most famous legends is Thor's duel with the giant Grungr, where the god showed not only strength, but also courage, taking a fatal blow to the head, which left a fragment of stone in his body. Another myth is when Thor disguised himself as a woman to return his stolen hammer. And although the image of Thor seems rude, he is capable of sacrifice, deep devotion, and even irony towards himself. But his greatest battle will be Ragnarok, the end of the world. It is then that Thor will meet in the final battle with Jormungandr, the serpent girdling the earth. He will kill the monster, but will take only 9 steps before the snake's poison ends his life. Thor will not live to see the new world, but his feet will become the basis of a new order. The image of Thor is a symbol of the strength that brings order and the courage that protects even in hopelessness. He is the lightning that dispels darkness, the thunder that awakens from fear, and the indomitable spirit of a warrior who knows what he is fighting for. People worshipped him not out of fear, but out of love. Because they knew, as long as Thor holds the hammer, evil will not prevail. Odin is not just the supreme god of Asgard. It is the mind that encompasses everything. It is wisdom gained at the price of a terrible sacrifice. It is a gaze that sees through the ages, and a will that prepares to meet the inevitable. He is not formidable like Thor, not cunning like Loki. His power is hidden in the depths of thought, in sacrifice, in strategy. Odin is the one who not only controls the gods, but also seeks meaning in everything, even in his own death. His image is an old traveler in a cloak, with a wide hood covering his face, and with one eye because he sacrificed the other to Mimir, the keeper of the source of wisdom. For a sip of knowledge, for the ability to see the hidden, Odin paid a part of himself. But this is only one of his sacrifices. To learn the power of the runes, he hung himself from a branch of the world tree Yggdrasil for 9 days and nights, without food, without drink, between life and death, watching himself from above before the answer came. His weapon is the spear Gungnir, which always hits the target. His horse is the 8-legged Sleipnir, the fastest and strongest in all the worlds. His companions are 2 ravens, Hugin and Munin, who bring him news from all over the world, and 2 wolves, Jerry and Freki. One rules not only with a sword or magic, but with the ability to see connections between events, peoples, gods. One is the god of poets, seers, warriors. He inspires creativity and battle. His whisper sounds in every prophecy, in every spell. He is the master of Valhalla, the majestic hall where fallen warriors go to prepare for the final battle with him. And he knows that this battle is inevitable. Ragnarok is the end of the world, which Odin not only predicted but also accepted. He knows who will survive and who will perish. He knows that he himself will fall from the fangs of the wolf Fenrir. But this knowledge does not break him. On the contrary, it makes his actions even deeper, even more strategic. Because even in death, Odin sees meaning, renewal, a circle, a new beginning. In his actions there is the depth of philosophy. In his silence there are more answers than in words. Odin is not just a deity. He is the archetype of a wise king who does not save the world from the end, but prepares it for a new dawn. His strength is not in muscles, but in sacrifice, in visions, in an unyielding willingness to go to the end, knowing that this end is not the end, but the beginning of a new cycle. Friends, we have passed through the mists of time and myths, opening the curtain on the amazing stories of the Scandinavian gods. From the silent power of Vidar to the thunder of Thor, from the mysterious Loki to the all-encompassing wisdom of Odin, each of them is not just a character of legends, but a symbol of the eternal forces of nature, human emotions, and cosmic order. If you were interested, subscribe to the channel so as not to miss the next immersions in the world of ancient mythologies. Like if you also believe that in every myth there is a grain of truth. And write in the comments, which god do you consider the strongest and why? There will be even more mysteries, legends, and ancient knowledge. Don't miss it.